All right, Chelsea, let's take a look at your paper. A couple things. Mla Format first. It's not the same font, so you got to change it to Times New Roman. And you added the page 1. Well, instead of putting insert page number, every page now says 1. So you got to go back and fix that. My name needs a space. This should say English 12 on this line. This is correct. You got too many spaces there, so you got to move that. This is literally the topic, not a creative title, so you got to change that as well. So you start with 2 questions, which aren't bad questions. It's fine, no comma there. But then you jump right into Macbeth completely without introducing the play or the author, etc. He completely forgot the love of his wife, everything that she wanted. So I would get rid of that. And he decided to do things his own way. So maybe set this up a little bit better in the play. Macbeth loses touch with reality because of the amount of pressure he's under from his wife. Because, some people say he's justified because his wife was a complete witch to him at the beginning. So is it okay that he forgot the love of his wife? I don't know. So anyways, you might want to go back and look at that. So what we're missing here, though, in your introduction is actually what disease he has. Now, you mentioned the title here, but in the introduction, you should say that he suffers from PTSD. You should also tell me what symptoms he has that he suffers from, and then have a thesis statement that gets us to what we're going to prove here. Macbeth's blatant disregards mentally and physically, so there's a comma there, cause him to relentlessly kill others for power with no remorse. Now, hopefully you can dive into this a little bit more. It's a little bit too plotty, but we'll see as you get in there. So you're still missing quite a few things in here, Chelsea, and I know you're short on space, so that could really add on to your introduction and add on to your overall length of your paper. All right, not a bad topic sense, except I'd love to see you change this last part of becoming a different person. That could mean anything. So what does it really mean he becomes? You use outside sources, which is good. Keep in mind that if it's a direct quote, that you put quotation marks around it. You have a citation, which is awesome. A lot of your classmates couldn't even get that far. But here's what the problem is. So this is all about being belligerent, aggressive towards others, acting out and making rational decisions. And then often people walk away from them because they can't, stand to see where they've become. So once he did the deed of killing Duncan to become Thane of Cawdor. Now keep in mind, he was Thane of Cawdor before he killed Duncan. So this is incorrect compared to the story. He felt, no space, he felt powerful. So after he killed Duncan, he did feel powerful. And he sees the power that he can hold. He won't stop until he gets more. Now, what does this have to do with becoming aggressive towards others and acting out and making irrational decisions? I would say killing Duncan is an example of him making an irrational decision, but that's not the support you're giving right here. So you really got to make sure that whatever you're saying is backing up what this thing is up here. Now, you keep going back to his wife. There's no need for him to consult with his wife anymore because the power had already corrupted him, which is fine, but that's not really necessarily what your thesis statement is. It is about power, which is fine, killing for power, but no remorse as well. So you need to add that more in here and make sure whatever your example is actually backing up what the symptom does. For the transition, not just say it's not the only thing that can be imagined. Be specific with where you're going in the next body paragraph, and that would be a better transition statement. So you got a lot of stuff that you can still do in here, Chelsea, to elaborate on that concept. I really like this as a first sentence to talk about reliving events. The follow-up sentence needs some work, though. Macbeth has, so this is a run-on sentence here. I would combine the two. Macbeth experienced some of this as PTSD left him susceptible to reliving events he has encountered, something like that. You just need to reword it. It doesn't look right. This is probably supposed to be capitalized, and we'll get to the works cited in just a second. Now, here's my problem with the rest of this paragraph. This adds nothing to the discussion of reliving events. The one thing that I would think that you'd want to talk about is Banquo's ghost, because I feel like that's him reliving the death of Banquo almost. Otherwise, maybe after Duncan's death, He's kind of maybe reliving the event by looking at his hands and talking about what the guards were doing as he exits the chamber. So that might be it. But otherwise, everything that you have in here is just fluff. It doesn't add anything new. Most of the stuff you talked about in the last paragraph, it really doesn't add anything new to it. And there's no specific example from the play to back this up, and no quote from the play to back that up as well. And that's your other problem up here too, Chelsea, is that you don't have any quotes in here to talk about being belligerent. And you could even mention up here about how he treats his messengers and servants and people he works or for work for him at the end of the play. So that would be a good place to put that in. But none of this really adds anything. You have some run-on sentences here that need fixed. As if everything is in front of him when it is not. Okay, well, give me an example of that. So anyways, you got to really add on to that. You need a transition as well to move into the next paragraph. All right, I'm a little unsure what this paragraph is supposed to be about. I'm assuming it's like avoidance, since this is what you quote from your outside source, avoided her and her desires. And again, we're going back to Lady Macbeth. Is that really maybe more of a focus in this paper? I don't know, because you don't really talk about it in the next one either. But so we need a strong topic sentence again. In the beginning, he pushed towards killing Duncan to get all of his power. She had influenced him so much that he felt he didn't need her anymore and avoided her and her desires. During him trying to take over the throne, his wife went downhill. This is more after he gets the throne. Letting all of the guilt she had built up take hold of her. This is a sentence fragment. He never noticed, and then you could use a quote at the end or an example at the end for this after she dies. He went about his way getting his power. Okay. While reaching an objective, he always had to watch his back, never knowing what may come his way. And I think this is a transition to the next paragraph. But again, Chelsea, you're suffering from not having a strong topic sentence that tells me, the reader, where you're going, and kind of meandering with your points. So really, it's topic sentence. What does the symptom do? How does Macbeth have that symptom? Specific examples from the play with a quote from the play possibly, and then tying it back into your thesis. And again, a stronger thesis will make that analysis stronger too. Be careful with very. Don't use very. You're either uneasy or you're not. So the feelings of having to be on guard all the time. That's a fragment. Macbeth had always been awaiting battle when, like, at the end of the story, or is he always on guard? Because you're not talking about probably physical battle. You're talking more about a confrontation with anybody, which kind of goes back to that paranoia thing, right? Because he's always on edge about everything, which causes him to be even more distracted. And you use lines like this again, and lines like this, and lines like this, but you never give specific examples from the play. You never tell me, and I know where you're going with it. I know where he feels emotionally numb after his wife's death. He feels emotionally numb, so all of this is going back to his wife as well. So maybe that's part of your thesis, that he has these symptoms, which causes him to, basically have negative interactions with his wife in the long run. And you could use that as a thesis. I think that'd be great to talk about how his PTSD affects his relationship with his wife. I think that's a really good idea, but you don't have any specific examples to back this up. You don't have any outside sources. You don't have any quotes. You don't have any specific examples. You're just missing a lot of that information. Also, by the way, Macbeth, you got to spell it the same way all the time, and they usually don't capitalize the B. So get rid of that different spelling of it overall. All right, so this is kind of a restatement of the thesis. Careful of your space issues, having too many spaces in here. You have a lot of run-on sentences. This is a run-on sentence. This is a run-on sentence. Hold on. Oh, sorry. That's okay. So careful of those run-on sentences. But you do have, just word choice and how sentences are structured are weak. And this is kind of meandering too. So think about this as a format. Repeat your thesis, one sentence of summary per symptom. Here's the first symptom he had, and this is what happened to him. Here's the second symptom he had, and this is what happened to him, so on and so forth. Okay, and then you have a clincher at the end, which this is pretty weak because it's just stuff that I think you've pretty much already said over and over again. So you got to have that better clincher. Okay, we're excited. This needs to go all the way to the top. Every line after the first gets indented. So this needs to be indented. This needs to be indented. This needs to be indented. This needs to be indented as well. Okay. We have 2 Mayo Clinic sources, by the way. So remember, you're supposed to have 3 different outside sources. So this is the exact same source. You just looked at it at different days according to this. Okay. But other than that, the format of it is correct as far as what should be there. Okay. All right. Chelsea, got a lot of work to do. But hopefully I've given you enough hints that you could do a rewrite, because you really are going to need to do a rewrite. You are missing a lot of these elements that are going to make it stronger. So good luck with that.